you, God.
Good evening, good evening, good evening.
We bless your holy name.
Come on into the scope. Come on in for a short late night scope. Come on in, come on in. Hello, hello, my friend. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us. Oh my God, thank you so much for joining in on the scope. So sorry, it's a little bit past the time. I am so good. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for joining us, Tea with Tammy. Thank you so much. Hello, hello, and thank you for coming in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes. Thank you for joining in for Tea with Tammy. I'm just gonna enjoy a little bit of one of my favorite songs to give people a little bit of time to come on in. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, blueberry tea. I love blueberry tea. Do you put honey in your tea?
Say you are my strength.
Hello from Dallas. Sing by God. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you. It's Late Night Tea with Tammy. You should. Just so I don't use sugar. So I use a little bit of honey just to add a little bit of sweetener. Tonight, I'm drinking chai tea again, which is it's just my favorite. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much. I love it. It's my favorite. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much. Ooh, I haven't tried apple cinnamon. I have not tried that, but I will. Thank you so much for that suggestion. I have to write that down. And thank you so much for the hearts. Thank you for hearting it up. I'm writing down to try the apple cinnamon tea. I love tea. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much for joining in for Tea with Tammy. And yes, it is tea. 26 bags. Oh my God. 26 teas. 26 different teas. Oh my goodness, yeah, you have me beat. I need to get out and explore. I need to explore more. I find my favorites and I just kind of stay right there. But I am going to explore. Yeah, I have to do that too. But Tea with Tammy is time for you to be transformed, to be empowered, and also be affirmed. So we join together and have tea, but we also talk about the tea. And tonight's tea is all about you not going back to your comfort zone. Don't go back to what's comfortable. Don't go back to comfort. Don't look back for comfort. There's nothing there for you back there. So don't go back. And tonight, we're going to be talking about Exodus 14, verses 13 and 14. And here in Exodus chapter 14 and 13, verse 13 and 14, it's when Moses were taking the children of Israel. They had been released, And verse, I don't know what's happening with my Bible. They had been released, and they began to murmur and complain because they were out of their comfort zone. For years they had been in slavery. And because they saw Pharaoh coming close to where they were, they began to ask Moses, like, why did you even leave us? Why did you even help us escape? We would have been better off just going back and continuing to be slaves. And they wanted to go back there, or in that moment, they felt like that's the place where they wanted to be because that's what they knew and that's where their comfort lied. But the interesting thing is when you read that full chapter is that God was guiding them. He was already leading and guiding them. In the daytime, he would lead them with a cloud. And at nighttime, he led them through a burning bush. So even when we are released from our slave mentality, from our slave mindsets, we still murmur and complain. But the one thing that I like about this chapter is that God was forever present. God never left them. And so even when we feel like God is not there, and even when it doesn't look like he's there, he's still yet there. Yes, don't look back. Don't look back. And so verse 13, it reads like this. And I'm reading out of the NIV. It says, and Moses said unto the people, fear ye not. I'm sorry, this is King James. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will show you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. And I actually like how it reads in the NIV a little bit better than that, a little bit more clear. In the NIV, it reads, Moses answered the people, don't be afraid, period. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. And so here is what I want to encourage you about today. See, when you don't look back and you don't go to your comfort zone, moving out of your comfort zone sometimes can be frightful. And I get that. But the truth of the matter is, God can't elevate you and move you to the next level if you're always wanting to go back there. You have to become uncomfortable. You have to move into a different space. If you're always looking back there, you can never press and move forward. So the first thing Moses told them to do is to do not be afraid. And 2 Timothy verse 1 and 7 says that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but he's given us his power, his love, and a sound mind. His power, his love, and a sound mind. So when you're not walking in fear, you can walk in God's power, and you can walk in God's love, and in his sound mind. That's the first thing that he said. And so even in not fearing, we need to understand that we can't fear because God tells us to fear not because he's with you. And so even when the children of Israel were taken out of that space, God was leading them the whole time. He was right there. So know that you don't have anything to fear because God is right there waiting for you to acknowledge him and to trust him and to allow him to lead and guide you. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding, but in all your ways, in every way, acknowledge him, and he shall, that's a declaration, he shall direct your path. And the second thing that he did, yes, go through the wilderness because there is something waiting for you on the other side. Elevation is on the side of the wilderness. Deliverance is on the side of the wilderness. But you have to go through something. He can't get rid of your old mentality, your old thought process. He can't let you shed off all of the other things if you ain't never been through nothing. How do you have a testimony without a test? It just doesn't happen that way. The second thing that Moses told them to do was to stand firm. That's right. Stand firm. And I like the analogy of a football team. When they get ready to hike the ball, everybody on the team gets into position. And when they get ready to get into position, it's like they take a certain stance because they know that that particular stance is going to propel them forward. Whether you are on offense or defense, it's going to propel you to move forward. So he tells them to stand firm, be strong, and put on the whole armor of God. The entire armor of God. And while you're putting on the armor of God, as it talks about that in Ephesians, you have to check your mouth. And what I mean by check your mouth, that's just a slang term. That means to get that mouth under control. Watch your words. Watch the things that you're saying. Watch the things that you're speaking over your life. If you are speaking lack, that's what you're going to have, lack. And that's not standing firm. To stand firm means to stand on the word. And you declare and decree what God says about you. I am the head and not the tail. I'm above and not beneath. I'm beautiful and wonderfully made. So you stand firm and you declare the glory of the Lord. And then the other thing is you have to check your thoughts. Bring every thought up under subjection. That's what it says. Everything that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. And in order for you to check your mouth and check your thoughts, you have to know what God says about you. You have to have relationship and you have to be reading your word. The third thing, yes, pray over your thoughts. You have control over that. Yes, the enemy cannot have your heart. He cannot. I declare and decree it. The third thing that he told them to do is to know this. And this is the confidence in Jesus. Deliverance is coming. Even when you haven't deserved deliverance, deliverance is coming. Even when you haven't done everything you know to do right, deliverance is coming. You can speak that. That's a declaration. Deliverance is coming in your house. Deliverance is coming for your children. Deliverance is coming for your situations. Deliverance is coming in your finances. Deliverance is coming in your health. Deliverance is coming for your peace of mind. Deliverance is coming. It's coming. God has given us power over the enemy. And we just have to remain connected and stay focused on who he is and know that deliverance is coming. And the other thing he talks about in this short little verse, he told them to be still. Don't move. Don't go back to your comfort. Stay right here where you are because you are about to be elevated. I'm pushing you and I'm pressing you because I'm taking you somewhere. And when I say be still, that doesn't mean for you to do anything. That just means for you to allow me to work in the process. That means for you to not try to do things in your own might and in your own will and try to function on your own strength. Be still. Understanding that being still means that you have to be still in your own might, but be ready to move. Be still. Stop all of the negative self-talk. Stop all of the negative thoughts. Stop all of this thinking that back there is where it is at. No, moving forward is where it is. Trusting God is where it is. Knowing that deliverance is coming is where it is. Be still and trust God. Be still and know that He is able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that we ask or even think. Be still and silence all of the chatter. And then the other thing you have to do is just be ready to move. Be ready to move. Even when the children of Israel saw the water in front of them and Pharaoh in the back of them, and this is what I love about this chapter, and it goes on into chapter 14. God was leading and guiding them in front of them. But when the enemy, drew near, he had light shining on one side and dark shining on the other side, darkness on the other side. They never saw. They never could get to one another. But when they saw them becoming near, when the enemy got close, God position moved from in front of them to the back of them. So God has your buffer. He's your buffer. If He's not in front of you, He's behind you. He's still there, regardless. And he puts a wedge between you and the enemy. And so when they began to move forward and Moses stretched out his rod in obedience, the waters parted and they walked through. Even though they didn't see how they were going to get through, even though they didn't know how they were going to get through, they trusted God and He stepped in right on time and He brought them through. And watch this. As you move forward, as you trust God in all that you do, and as you allow Him to use you and demonstrate to Him that I'm moving and I'm trusting you, He's going to take care of your enemy. You don't even have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about none of that. He's going to take care of your enemy just like He took care of Pharaoh. And all of his, he pulled out his best chariots and his best warriors to come and go get the children of Israel. And God had a plan for them. So don't worry, don't stress. Don't go back to your comfort zone because that's what you know. Don't turn back around because that's what makes you feel safe. Trust God enough to step out into the deep. Step out and just move. Step out and know that deliverance is coming. Step out and trust God and don't be afraid. And know that He is your strength. He is your provider. He is your everything. Everything that you need, God's got it. And guess what? Everything that you need is already on the inside of you. He's just waiting for you to allow Him to utilize you and perfect your gifts. So don't look back. Don't look back to that old fling. Don't look back to that old thing. Don't look back. Press forward. Move out of your comfort zone and become uncomfortable and allow God to use you. Thank you so much for joining us again tonight for Tea with Tammy. And Tea with Tammy is time for you to be transformed, to be empowered, and to be affirmed. So I welcome you. I thank you so much for joining us tonight. I am Tammy Nobles, your outcome facilitator, and I am on the road, the journey of 30 days of scoping. Today is day 5 of 30, so I ask that you join me tomorrow. And typically it's between 10 and 10:30, and we have our nightly tea. So thank you so much for joining me. Tap those hearts. If I said anything that encouraged you tonight, tap those hearts and give God some glory. And I appreciate you, and I hope that you will join me again. And if you are on the replay, your hearts matter too. So tap it up, tap it up, tap it up, tap it up, tap it up. Thank you so much, and have a blessed evening. Enjoy your tea.